everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the Youth Show. Today we have with us Advocate B. Abhasar. He is a Supreme Court lawyer, founder trustee of MIT, author, teacher, poet, and having experience of more than 52 years in law practice. So we welcome you on our show.
Hello.
My first question to you is,
Yeah.
how did you contribute to MIT and private engineering institutions?
Yeah. Till 1963, all educational institutions in India were government-owned educational institutions. While thereafter a policy was there that some private institutions would be given aid, and those aided institutions can also impart education. While in engineering and medical field, till 1983, there were no private colleges. Because for an engineering college, for having a workshop, the instruments, it needs a lot of capital. For medical colleges, for intake of 100, a 500-bedded hospital or paramedical medical staff is required. And all this investment, government was not in a position to make. And it was decided to allow the private educational institutions to run the unaided colleges. Now, when this policy was declared, we naturally applied for an unaided private educational institution, what is known as MIT. Now, the place where the MIT today stands was also a surplus land under ULC, Urban Land Selling Act. And it was my expertise in that field as a lawyer. So once we got that, it started going. Then medical colleges were there. The other part of your question, that engineering medical colleges education, therein the problem was that since investment is very high and colleges were unaided, what should be their fee structure? Government had allowed them to have cost-based education formula. By cost-based education formula, it was meant that whatever the capital contribution is required, whatever the expenses for running the institution are required, recurring expenses, what we call, plus some reasonable surplusage for development. All this should be covered from the fees of the students. But then these fees were coming to a very high place. There were cases in Supreme Court one after other. And in all that, let there be some seats, what were known as free seats. In fact, they were not free. Only thing was that those were the lower fee seats. And other were the payment sheets, what meant that whatever the deficit from the first free sheets, that was to be covered by these payment sheet students. And higher fee sheets and lower fee sheets was the formula. Subsequently, there was a development that people were challenging this, that why not to attract the NRI capital? And therefore, out of these payment sheets, some seats were also allocated to NRI seats, and NRI fee was fixed at 5 times the fee of the payment sheets. And then these colleges were going on. Now that need of the society for having private colleges was being supplied. Simultaneously, these colleges, these institutions started primary, secondary, pre-primary education also. All that was unaided. Therefore, these colleges, right from beginning, were allowed to have their own policies. But so far schools were concerned, questions were that what shall be the rules for the servants, employees, teachers, and what should be their scales, whether they should be comparable with the government. And naturally, they could not be comparable with the government. Therefore, these private unaided educational institutions were allowed to have their own rules and regulations, and government was supervising those. However, in this supervision, it was found that most of these colleges were the colleges being run for just making money. And therefore, ultimately, again, there were the cases in Supreme Court. And when 11 judges bench finally sat, they decided that let there be an entrance test. And in entrance test, common entrance test, which would be conducted by the educational department, and this entrance test would be filling in the seats, and accordingly admission should be regulated. And accordingly, today that education being imparted.
The privatization of education institutions has been more towards business.
Now, it is the proposition so far education. If you just turn to the dictionary meaning of the word education, it has two components. Mere knowledge giving is not education. Imparting knowledge and imbibing character together is education. So, if knowledge is given to the student but character is not given, society becomes the discordant society wherein crimes can be there. And if good character is to be there, the human beings learn, particularly children, more by saying than by hearing. Therefore, the character must be possessed by their teachers, by the people who are managing the institutions, that is to say, the management. And if the management, they are just after making the money, then naturally teachers also not motivated, they are not properly paid. All that underhand dealing goes on at very many places. And because of this, the very idea of having education is being defeated nowadays. And nowadays, as it is found, that at many places, most of the unaided private educational institutions, they are just behind making money. And because of this, educational standards are also going down.
Can be the effective way of recruiting good teaching staff.
Now, two things. The scarcity of teachers is not there. Good teaching staff would need three things. First, teacher must be taught properly. Now we have got commercially run colleges and are not properly regularized. Therefore, their training is not proper. That is one thing. Many private institutions, proper salaries are not paid. And off and on, even you people as chartered accountants, as we as lawyers, complaints that in some institutions for recruitment of a teacher, some underhand money is demanded that he should first give the money and then he will be recruited. Third thing, they are not paid proper salaries. What salaries of a clerk in government services are, less than that, sometimes 7 and 8,000, 10,000 rupees are the salaries for primary teachers. Now, at these salaries when they are working, where is the motivation? So, motivation is not there, proper training is not there, and because of that, you are not getting good teachers. If you want to attract good teachers, good people are already there, quite experienced, knowledgeable, but the thing is, they are not taken into the institutions with proper salaries and proper respect. If we develop that culture, it is possible. And developing that culture is not difficult. Government is to determine its own policy, wherein some expert people are taken, not only the bureaucrats. Expert people with character are taken, their committees are formed, and these independent committees are supervising the government schools, corporation schools, as well as the private schools, private colleges, and then only there can be some unification.
So, what should be the agenda of education? Whether to score high or skill development?
The proposition, I would put it this way. Do not go from the bottom to the top. Now, when already we have seen that hereafter, your standards will be international standards. The doctor, the engineer, the teacher, the chartered accountant, the lawyer who is in India, has to have the standards of international level. Then only such person can operate. So if that standard is your end goal, then the education, suppose that education for a chartered accountant, for a lawyer, for an engineer or a doctor, that is after secondary. Then at secondary, his stage would be such that he can take up the next studies. Then secondary starts after the primary school. So at the end of primary school, the child should be capable of taking the secondary standard, and pre-primary, that should be capable of making the child the ideology of foreign countries only. Because today also we have found, because of this corona, that where the people are on the roads and without any help, those who do not have proper jobs, those who do not have proper incomes, how their children are being taught, how they are being educated. For them, it should be equally competent system as it is for the have-nots and haves are to be balanced. One. And two, education must be such that after taking the education, the person is capable of serving the society directly so that he gets a job. So job-oriented approach is also required to be there. As now we find that we are producing, or if I am allowed to say, I may say that we are manufacturing, as if factories are manufacturing the graduates, postgraduates, but when they go in real life, they are not in a position directly to undertake their jobs. They need further training. And in further training, they are required to spend years and years, whether it is medical education, whether it is legal education, whether it is chartered accountants education. After taking your degrees, you are required to spend juniorship, lot of time. This is also to be considered properly, and the proper standards should be implemented, and job-oriented training should be given to most of the people. We are ultimately to have workers also. What standard they should have, what amenities and facilities they should have, that also we should plan. And if we plan that way, then I am certain that there would be a class within the society. Classes are bound to be there, but class conflict should not be there. While nowadays we are finding that there is a class conflict, that these have-nots, those who are collecting at various places and they are not getting even the necessary supplies, then they are ready to take the law in their hands. Why? This is class conflict. This we have to.
Sir, whether there should be a standard board throughout the country, like we have SSC, then CBSE, ICSE. Don't you think we should have a single standard board throughout the country?
The proposition is that already we have made certain rules, and Supreme Court judgments are also there, that some claims are there. Besides these unaided educational institutions, claim was that in Constitution, Article 19, it gives you certain fundamental rights. And in fundamental rights, to form associations is also there. So some people went to the Supreme Court and said that if we are the minority people, then we should be allowed to have our own institutions. And they were granted that right. However, it was said that these minority educational institutions must follow the standards which are being followed by other people also and other institutions also. Or in other words, even if the minorities, majority institutions will be there, the standards should be regulated by universities. And nowadays the problem is being created that these unaided private institutions have become so politically and the monetary wise strong that they are controlling the policies of the government also. And because of this policy control, now they are having their own universities. Recognized as university, they can grant their diplomas, they can grant their degrees. And if we have seen that they do not have the infrastructure, now the problem is that may forget about the big cities like Pune, Bombay and so on. if you go in rural areas, the engineering colleges or medical colleges which were full with students at one time, today they are not getting students because so many engineers are there and they do not have any jobs. Standards are not there in those institutions. If education is not standard in institutions, those institutions in future will be closed down. They must compete properly. They must have proper staff, competent equipment, machinery, whatever is sufficient. And with such thing, if we want to proceed with the education, we must have a national policy. And this national policy should be in such a manner that in India there are various languages. Each state has got its own language. So this language is also to be taken care of. The linking language, which is international link, English, today at least we are bound to follow that. And the national link, as we are saying Hindi, that also should be there. But while planning these standards, the graduate produced in Tamil Nadu and the graduate produced in Rajasthan must have the same standard. If this is so, and that standard should be matching with international standards, if that way we can plan our educational institutions, then only it will be proper. Today we find that government is taking least interest in planning the curriculum and standards of education, because most of these politicians, they are having their own private institutions, unaided institutions, and they influence the policies. Therefore, experts are not there or consulted properly in universities also, and hence we are losing standards nowadays. Next question.
Would you like to give any message to our students?
We can say that in India, though spread of education is there, we have not maintained standards properly. The education for the sake of education, degrees for the sake of degrees is too much. Now it would be required that parents should take care while entering the child at the initial stage. Now you will find in most of the cases, both the parents are employed, mother as well as father. And then they directly, when the child is just 3-4 years old, pre-primary section, and they are putting the child in pre-primary schools. So these schools hardly take proper care of the children. Second important point is that when they select a school, they must take care to see that how is the school, what are the buildings, what is the equipment, what is the standard of teachers, what type of management is there, what character they possess. All these inquiries are to be made not by the student, but by their guardians or parents. And then only they must select such proper school. That is one thing. Secondly, ultimately it is for voters, you and me, we people. If we say that we do not have proper government policies, who is to be blamed for? Why government policies are not proper? Because as a citizen, as a voter, either I am not electing a proper person, or after electing a representative, I am not controlling that person properly by exerting the restraints on such representatives of people, and therefore the democracy is not working properly. For any democracy, what is required is that citizens must be the most vigilant people. They are always taking care to see that whether government is working properly or not, and if not, they are taking proper measures. And of all departments, education department is the most basic department. If education is not proper and you do not develop a proper, say, generation, then you cannot expect from them a very proper performance. So essential it is that we must start thinking anew and have some national policy for education, and particularly paying attention to fixing curriculum first. Then this curriculum should take care of our culture also, character building also, and imparting knowledge also. That will be one thing. Then we must also look to it that when our educated people go in real life, they are capable of serving the society by contributing their knowledge. And if that is to be so, the education should be such that it is helping the student to find out the job and do that job properly. So whether it is job as a worker, whether it is job as a clerical staff, government staff, paramedical, medical, engineering, whatsoever, because all cannot be in the same boat. There will be classification of the society. It is bound to be there. But in each class, our people should be competent to discharge their duties and their jobs properly. And that should be the aim in planning the education. If we plan education keeping these goals in mind, then I am sure that in India, the education can go in proper direction. And while dealing with this problem, one thing we will have to keep in mind that today, who are going to the private unaided educational institutions and who are going to the state-run institutions. Take the schools run by municipal corporations, schools run by government. Mostly the children of poor people go there because fees are less. They can afford to pay. And their standards of education are also not proper. So those who are already poor, you are neglecting their children. They are not getting proper education. And those who are wealthy people, they can give better education to their children so that their children again are doing better jobs and earning more. This disparity in the society is very dangerous and that is to be reduced down. Just to give one example, I can tell you that last year, when there was calamity of floods, where the affected people were kept? In schools. Now, corona epidemic is there. Where the displaced people are put? In schools. Which schools? Not private schools. That is the public schools, government schools, the municipal schools, those are there. The teachers of these schools are required to do other jobs, maybe the jobs of just taking the list of those people who have gone the tests, medical tests, what are the reports, results. So various works are given to these government teachers. And for they are also not in a position to concentrate properly. So education department today happens to be the least attended department. Minimum attention is given to it, minimum budget is given to it, and therefore we are not in a position to attain the standards which we aim at or plan at.
So, thank you, sir. We have done with our interview.
Namaste.
It was a privilege for us to take your interview. Thank you, sir.